So I decided to challenge myself to finish my New Horizons island in 10 hours. So let's start with a little introduction to the island. So this is my second Animal Crossing island called Cinnamon. The theme on this island is rural town core slash fall core slash whatever we want to do core. I have had this island for about 2 years now. I think it's been over 2 years now, and for various reasons I have really struggled to finish building this island and finish decorating this island. If you have been here for some time, you might have noticed that. So that's why I kind of wanted to challenge myself to finish this island, or potentially finish this island, and I wanted to give myself a little bit of a time frame, a little bit of pressure to work on this island. So that's why I decided to do this 10-hour challenge. Yeah, I have seen other people attempt a similar challenge as well. I think mainly Little Branches Crossing. I think I saw her do something like this. It's been quite some time now, but some time back I saw her do like a 9-hour challenge or something. And you know what? I thought like maybe with a little bit of a deadline, like a little bit of pressure, I would be able to kind of like set my mind to finishing this island. So as you can see here, for hour 1, I decided to focus on the upper right hand side corner of the island. As you can see, I have maybe, I would want to say maybe 30% of the island still to be finished. Also, most of the beaches of the island are not decorated at all, but they are really not the priority. Even if I don't really manage to build anything too crazy on the beaches, I don't really care for those. Like the focus for this challenge especially was like the main part of the island. So while I spent a little bit of time relocating Bubbles' and Rudy's house here, I just want to mention a couple of things because, well, firstly, I was planning to do straight up 10 hours as it was. And I think for hour 3, I went on Treasure Islands because I noticed that I didn't really have a lot of items on this island, at least for the builds that I ended up doing. So originally I had planned to include that Treasure Island time to this 10 hours, but I realized that I was gonna have to do a lot of Treasure Island runs. So I ended up dedicating hour 3 for Treasure Islands and then kind of not including the other Treasure Island runs that I had to do to this 10-hour challenge, because I think otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of progress, because I had to go on those spicy islands so many times, and obviously it takes quite a lot of time to go on those islands and like get all the items. So I decided to actually cut that like spicy island time out of the 10 hours, if that makes sense. Other than that, this is purely 10 hours of me decorating my island. I have to say, I think mostly it was just me like having to do some terraforming and placing down custom paths. As you can see here, I have this custom road that I'm using throughout the whole island, and actually placing down the custom path took also quite a significant time. So I feel like maybe actually in the end of this, it's gonna look like I didn't make it that much progress, but because the custom path is so time consuming that it took a very significant amount of time from this challenge. I would like to say like maybe half of this 10 hours was just me placing down custom designs or terraforming the island. I know originally I had planned not to do that much terraforming, but obviously once I started to actually decorate and build this island, I realized that I was gonna have to do a lot of the terraforming. And you might have noticed here that I ended up time traveling back to November. Some of you guys might know why, but mainly it was because I wasn't really a fan of how the island looks like in the winter scenery, especially because I feel like this rural town core, and also because I have a little bit of like fall theme going on this island, so I think November looks better on this island. But anyways, here we are doing the actual first build of this challenge. So you can see I decided to go for this pretty basic football field. One reason is that this is obviously behind Rudy's house, and because I'm not really doing like personalized yards, so to say, on this island, but I wanted obviously my jock villager to have a little sport area, and conveniently enough it is behind his house, so kind of like a villager yard but not really. This build was inspired by the amazing overgrown builds that I've seen on Pinterest, so I hope that I managed to make some justice for those amazing reference photos that I did have. By the way, if you are interested, I have my Pinterest linked down in the description box down below in case you are maybe looking for inspo for a similar theme. Yeah, I have the whole rural town core inspo board linked down below for you in case you maybe need also a spark of motivation or some ideas, because when I went into this challenge I really didn't have like any builds in mind, so yeah, Pinterest was very useful, very handy. And here I think we are already at hour 2, but I think at this point I realized that I was gonna have to do a lot of Treasure Island runs because I realized I didn't have the items that I wanted to use. And then at hour 3, once I actually went on the Spicy Islands, I realized that I was gonna have to spend a significant time doing just that. So this is where I kind of decided that I'm not gonna include the Treasure Island time to this challenge. I also did go on some Cap'n Islands to grab some bushes and trees, but I think in the end I ended up also grabbing all the trees and bushes from Treasure Islands because yeah, I didn't want to really kind of waste time just doing this. So hour 4 and 5 were quite decorating heavy. I started with this kind of like stargazing corner here on the little cliff on the back of the island, and funny enough this ended up being like one of my favorite little builds on the island. I know it's super basic, but what can I say, I love a good little stargazing corner, and I love using these cliffs that extend to the water and making like tiny little detail builds on the island for those. As you can see here is another cliff that I decided to turn into my second favorite build, or maybe my favorite build, which is a cafe. I love a good cafe, I love a good stargazing moment. So here I am building a basic tiny little cafe here. This structure build here that I'm focusing on now, it's kind of like a copy paste of another build that I have in another location on the island, because I feel like I'm not really good at making this kind of 3D structure or house looking builds. So I just decided to not complicate it and just copy paste literally what I did in another corner of this island. While we tour the island in the end of the video, I will show you like the other build that I have that is like pretty much exactly the same. But yeah, I find this kind of like house looking structures like quite challenging. I think I'm just not like very creative to make it look very good. But yeah, funny enough, like once I actually started to decorate this island, I got reminded of like how much I love this island, and that has been like kind of the reason why I didn't want to restart this island before I finish it, because I love this theme. Okay, by the way, here we are like decorating just a very casual like garden dinner area situation or dinner party. This is nothing very crazy, but I think it ended up kind of cute. It ended up looking kind of cute. So yeah, but what I was saying is that yeah, I wish I would have made Cinnamon my forever island, because I love this theme so much, and every time I start actually decorating on this island, I'm like, I don't want to reset this island. And yeah, kind of almost wishing that Cinnamon would be my forever island. And that's why, if you were here for the 30 days of Animal Crossing challenge, that's why I took a lot of inspiration from this island theme over to my actual forever island, because I don't know, this town core, especially this kind of like countryside, overgrown rural town core, is just the theme for me. Like, I love a good forest core and fall core, but mix it in with a little town core and I don't know, it's just my favorite theme. And yeah, I almost wish I wouldn't have to reset Cinnamon ever because I just love this island. And that's why I never actually wanted, like, I've been so, like, going back and forth with this, like, do I want to reset this island or do I want to finish this island? And yeah, I just have to say, I'm just really, really happy that I decided to do this 10-hour challenge. So for hour 6, we are focusing on the upper left-hand side corner of the island. And as you can see here, I know it's going a bit fast, but mainly for hour 6, I was just placing down some custom path and getting rid of this one water feature and a cliff here in the back of the island. I know it might seem like there is not that much progress, but obviously because the terraforming and the custom path took so long to do that, you know, it's not maybe the most visible progress, but it is still progress. For hour 7, I think I decided to attempt this build that I've also seen on Pinterest that is kind of like this, I don't know, what would you call it, like a perspective build or something like that. So kind of like when you're looking down from the cliff, you see this kind of like trees and windmills and stuff. What would you call this? I don't know. But yeah, I think it ended up looking quite nice, especially because I didn't really have like an idea what to do with the little cliff. I have this kind of like a big cliff here in the back of the island. So I ended up attempting to do this kind of, yeah, I want to kind of call this like perspective build or something. I don't know if that even makes any sense. Also, I feel like I didn't mention this, but I was supposed to actually do a 12-hour challenge. I know I mentioned that in the previous episode, but because I ran into a bit of a scheduling issue, I ended up doing only 10 hours. Also because I did so many Treasure Island runs that obviously took way longer than like 10 hours in total. Like doing this challenge took way more than 10 hours in total. So I decided to make this into just 10 hours because I feel like I made quite good progress and I was happy with the progress that we did. Yes, we didn't finish the island in 10 hours, obviously, but the progress that we made is really good. And I feel like it gives me this hope of like, I'm going to finish this island. There is only, I think, 2 bigger areas that I still need to finish, plus the beaches after this challenge. So I'm really happy with that. And I'm really like kind of satisfied with how things are on Cinnamon at the moment. But yeah, in case you were curious why we were not doing 12 hours, it's because I didn't actually have enough time because I wanted this video out for you guys as fast as possible as well. All right, where are we? I think this is hour 8, right? So as you can see, I am finishing up this perspective build here in the corner of the island, and you might have noticed that I also moved the last remaining villager houses. So that was, I think, Deirdre and Filbert. So they moved to this cliff up here, and then I started to focus on the last villager housing build. So yeah, I had quite a lot of space here behind Filbert's and Deirdre's yard. So I was thinking like, what am I gonna even do with all this space? And yeah, I was just thinking like what would fit this kind of like countryside theme. And I ended up going with a little apiary build because yeah, I think that's just so fitting for like a countryside that, you know, you have your own bees in your backyard. And I love this like apiary item, or the beehive item, sorry, that we have in the game. But I feel like I always kind of end up not really using them, or I use them like at a garden or something. So I finally wanted to dedicate like a proper apiary build for the island. Plus, because honestly, like when I started this challenge, I had like 0 builds in mind. Like I had literally like no idea what to do with this island. So I just kind of like went with the flow, and whatever ideas popped in my head, I just ended up going with those. But yeah, it ended up looking quite cute, and maybe it's not very fitting maybe for the villager personalities, but as I said, like I wasn't really too concerned on giving like a matching personality or like match the yard to the villager's personality, if that makes sense. And hey, why cannot a lazy villager have an apiary? And Deirdre, I think like the sisterly villagers, they're really into like flowers and stuff. So maybe in that sense, this is actually quite fitting for them. So moving on to hour 9, which was focused on relocating and customizing my house. As you can see here very quickly, I actually had to relocate my house twice because I messed it up because I didn't place down the custom design properly. So I don't know, for some reason I got like a bit confused here, so I ended up wasting a little bit of time moving my house twice, but you know, it's okay. I ended up going with a similar theme for my house as I have done for my villager yards, so I just threw my house by the side of the road and decorated a little bit around it. Kind of a happy accident that I ended up placing my house very close to the secret beach, which looks almost like I planned the whole thing, but I actually didn't. But yeah, it ended up working out quite nicely. I also obviously customized the house to try and blend it in to the theme a bit more. Like usually I would say I don't really go for this looking house, but I think it suits the theme quite well. I was like kind of considering like, should I do more of a cabin vibe for like a countryside, but I think this looks a bit better. For the secret beach, I decided to go for this pretty basic but cozy and cute reading corner. Funny enough, I almost didn't even include like my house area build to this challenge because for some reason I was like super worried about like having to have this a great, amazing, super creative and big build around my house, but I ended up going with this really simple build and I ended up liking it so much. And for me, it's just so funny that kind of half accidentally things ended up working out quite well. And yeah, my house has its own secret beach, which is almost looking so intentional, but to be honest, this island was kind of like going with the flow kind of island, and things ended up working out quite nicely. Like maybe I should do more of this, like having the secret beach next to my house, because it looks kind of cute. It looks kind of intentional, almost like I planned it. But yeah, if you have been kind of stressing about decorating your own island or something, I would say that sometimes you just have to start working on it and just build something random, and sometimes you might end up accidentally making a very nice build. Okay, last hour. Are we ready? Hour number 10 and the last build of the island. By the way, if you are still here, if you're still watching at this point, comment some, is there a bicycle emoji? Comment some bicycle emojis down in the comments below. So yeah, for the last build, I decided to go for the pretty basic bicycle rental thing, or bicycle parking. I'm not sure which one is this, but yeah, I was kind of inspired by this kind of like city bike rental things. So this build actually ended up being in kind of 2 parts. So there is this bigger bike rental up on the hill, and then there is another smaller one like close to the museum. So, you know, the idea is that you can like rent your bike here, but you can drop it off at a different spot in town. And you'll see later on like the smaller version of this build. So yeah, overall this challenge was really fun, and I'm so happy I finally decided to attempt finishing this island, because yeah, one thing that I kind of learned from this challenge was that it's actually not that difficult to finish my island. I don't know, I'm just always like talking about how I'm struggling so much, but I also noticed that when I actually just start putting down decorations and I start decorating and doing something on the island, like I ended up actually not having that much hard time finishing this island, because okay, it took me maybe a bit more than 12 hours, but still it's actually like not that difficult. Like you just have to find the motivation to do the things, but once you start decorating, I don't know, the inspo starts kind of flowing and the island starts like coming together all of a sudden, and I'm kind of like, why did I not do this already earlier? Because yeah, I think I mentioned it in the beginning of the video, but I've had this island for over 2 years now, and I don't know why I haven't been able to finish it. But with this challenge, I realized like if I just start doing stuff, I can actually finish this island. And yeah, in the end of the day, I am just really happy with the progress that we make, and Cinnamon Island is so very close of being finished, so we can do this. And this challenge really gave me this little glimpse of hope of actually, like, I'm gonna see this island finished one a day, and one day very soon. I'm actually thinking to possibly maybe stream some decorating streams of like finishing the island properly. Because yeah, I think there's just this little area behind this bigger bike rental, and then another area behind the museum that is not ready yet. Plus the beaches. Plus I'm also thinking, should I like interior decorate the house? But other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Like, Cinnamon is almost done, you guys. Can you believe it? I just find it so crazy. But yeah, this is me building the smaller little bicycle parking next to the museum. And yeah, in a little bit here, we are going to be touring the island. So in case you found this video going very fast, because I know it has been kind of a Uber speed build kind of situation, so in case it went too fast, we are gonna tour this island in a bit of a slower manner here in a little bit, so you can see maybe more of the details and maybe get a better picture of how the island layout is. Because yeah, I know with this speed build kind of video, maybe it's a bit confusing of like where the areas are on the island, and in case you are new here, maybe you can see also some glimpses of the other builds that I have on the island. But you can also find a couple of speed builds and some decorating of the other areas of the island if you wish to see more of this kind of like rural town core inspo or builds or whatever. But yeah, we are almost done here, so stay tuned for the little island tour or the little build tour here in a little bit. Okay, are you ready for the final tour? We are here bright and early at almost 7 a.m. I think it's quite nice that there is a little bit of mist in the air. I wanted to start here at the airport, and yes, I don't think I mentioned this, but yes, my island is a hot glitchy mess because there are so many items everywhere and so many wheat fields. So in case you ever tour this island in the future, I recommend not running at all because yeah, there are just way too many items for the game to be able to run the island smoothly. But yeah, I just wanted to start here in the corner of the island because I think I mentioned this when I was building the first cafe of the 10-hour challenge, that this is the other kind of like food establishment that I have on the island, and this is the build that I kind of basically copy pasted because I don't know how to do this kind of builds, so I just, you know, figured that I would just keep it simple and just copy paste that in a smaller form in another corner of the island. But yeah, in case you are maybe new here and you haven't seen the rest of Cinnamon, because I know I didn't really feature it much in the video, this is Cinnamon Island, and this is some of the other builds. We're not gonna tour the whole island here, but let's start where the video started as well and where the 10 hours started. So we did this little villager housing area here behind Nook's Cranny. By the way, maybe I will open the map so it also makes a bit more sense, but this is like the upper right hand side corner. The map is looking quite funny, I have to say, because obviously I'm using just custom path everywhere, so the map is not gonna give you a very good idea of what's going on actually. But at least, yeah, we are here in the upper right hand side corner of the island. And this was the first little villager yard area, and yeah, the island just looks so nice in November. In case you were here for our little 30 days of Animal Crossing challenge, you might know why I decided to come back to November and live my best November dreams in this video. But yeah, how funny that the first build of the island is kind of right next to the last build of the island. And you can see Rudy here is already enjoying the new little quarters of the island. And yeah, behind Rudy's and was that Bubbles? Their houses here, we have the little soccer field area, or football, however you want to call this. I know some people are very specific about that. And yeah, behind here is that little cafe that I was talking about earlier. Yeah, always appreciate a good cafe build. I think I need a few more cafes on the island. I think maybe here on the beach we will add another cafe as well, because you know, when you don't have any ideas of what you should do on your island, it's always good to go for the classic cafe build. And this is the little garden party area. I'm actually kind of thinking if I should put some sort of custom path under here, but also at the same time, I don't hate it. Like, I might just leave it be, because I'm also lazy to kind of move those items around again. And yeah, let's go over to my house, which is here next to the stargazing area. Love a good cruiser bike every here and there, you know. And yeah, I have to say, the mist is kind of looking quite nice for the island. I'm just excited to also see like how the secret beach is gonna look when Red is parked there. And up to this corner here, we are moving to the little windmill edge build, or I don't know what would you call this, like some sort of scenery build. Obviously you can run through here if you want to access the beach on the other side. And then we have the little apiary build here. I think all my villagers are still sleeping because it's so early in the morning in the game right now. And yeah, you might have noticed I added a few more details here, I think. I think I ended up adding like the butterfly models and the bee model here, just to make it like really obvious. And yeah, I put down some path in this corner. As you can see, some of the cliffs are still a bit unfinished, obviously. Like, I have to kind of decorate or put down some trees or something here so it doesn't look so bare. And yeah, then we have the little bike rental, and I think I added also some wheat fields and stuff to this corner. I think this corner of the island is a bit of a filler build here. Like, I could build something here, but I think I'm just gonna leave it be as it is like this. And yeah, I think, okay, in a way, it maybe looks a bit like there is not that much going on, and I spent like 10 hours and I only have like a couple of builds done. But as I mentioned throughout the video, actually most of this challenge was just like placing down custom path and doing a little bit of terraforming, because yeah, unfortunately that takes quite a lot of time. And also, yeah, I had to do so many treasure island runs that also took kind of a lot of time, even though I didn't really count most of it to this challenge. But yeah, that's why I also ended up only doing 10 hours, because yeah, I think in total I probably spent more closer to maybe 14 hours or something doing this challenge, like actually, if you calculate also the treasure island time to this. But yeah, I'm just super happy with how Cinnamon Island is looking right now. Like, I can't actually believe that I am so close to finishing this island. Like, I honestly thought at some point that it's not gonna happen and I'm just gonna reset this island and, you know, let it go to the abyss. But we are also very close, so we can definitely do this. And yeah, I'm definitely considering possibly streaming some of the building that we still have left to do. So keep an eye on that. Feel free to subscribe to the channel so you stay posted on the Cinnamon Island shenanigans. And make sure you like the video, and don't forget to leave the bicycle emojis down in the description box if you made it to the end of the video or almost to the end of the video. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye guys.